Hello everyone and welcome again to our Street Soccer United podcast, a very special show today. It's Keith Mabbutt here, Founder CEO of the Street Soccer Foundation. On today's show, I'm thrilled to be sat here with George Elokobi, former Premier League footballer with Wolverhampton Wanderers and now captain of Maidstone United. George, thank you for joining us on today's show. First up with question one. For the benefit of the listeners, how would you describe Mr. George Elokobi in 60 seconds?
Thanks for having me. Describing myself will be I'm humble, hardworking, disciplined, always strive to be as positive as I can be, dedicated, always try to brighten people's day around myself and also around the community, respectful, but most importantly, very hardworking and determined, always strive to be better than I did or than I am as a person, and always looking to win, even though sometimes I lose, but more so always challenging myself to be as successful as I can be.
What a tremendous description there in the 60 seconds, George. Hardworking, determined, and an incredible drive and hunger to win is certainly the man I know of. Brilliant. Now, you were born in Cameroon and came to England at 16 to join your mother, who had previously come over to study. How did you find the move and how did you cope with the transition?
The move was completely different from what I was used to back in Cameroon, and it took me quite some time to adapt to the English ways, the culture. Everything was completely different from what I was used to back home. The food, the educational system as well was completely different. So it was quite surreal for myself. But my mom tried to help me as much as she could. But at the same time, I had to learn as quickly as possible to try to adapt to the English ways and the English cultures and the values in the UK. It wasn't easy to begin with, but slowly I got into the system, which was fantastic for myself.
Your mum sounds as if she was a great help to you, George, but like you say, you had to take that personal responsibility to properly adapt, which clearly you did. Now, after first starting out in non-league here with Dulwich Hamlet, you went on to make it as a professional footballer after you signed for Colchester United. Did you always believe you would make it as a professional footballer when you came to England?
No, I never believed I'll make it into professional football when I came over to England, because my main goal was obviously to further my studies and become someone good in the educational backgrounds. But when the chance came to obviously sign for Colchester United, and which I took, from then on, my mind was made up. I knew my mindset was changed. I knew I was going to go all the way because I had all the attributes to become as successful as I can be. All depended on how disciplined I was, if not being a follower, but being a leader of myself. I knew what it took, which was hard work, dedication, sacrifices, discipline, and I put in the work and made sure I gave myself the best opportunity to be able to succeed in this very, very difficult game, in the professional game. Put myself under enormous pressure by working extremely hard. When I had my days off, I made sure I was putting in the work to be able to become an accomplished professional footballer. And in the end, I think that did work out for me.
I love the reference to mindset there, George, after you signed for Colchester, and I'll definitely want to come back to you on that. But clearly leading by example, putting in the work. It's no surprise to me then that in 2008 you went on to sign for Wolves, where you helped the club gain promotion to the Premier League. I think you did score your first Wolves goal, and what a place, on the 26th of October 2010 against Manchester United at Old Trafford. What was that like, and was that the best goal you've ever scored?
At the time, obviously, playing for a huge club like Wolves, I thought I'd done everything I can as a footballer to be able to enhance my career. But then, when that moment came, obviously, I just come back from a long layoff with injury. But that opportunity at Old Trafford came, and I think I grabbed it with both hands. And this just shows you how hard work can take you so far in this life. And when I scored that goal, I thought I'd done it all really, but um, there was more to come. But that goal was the announcement of George Elokobi to the footballing world. People that didn't know me, obviously, um, started being recognized globally. Everywhere I went, people could recognize me, and it felt good. But at the same time, you have to stay humble in those circumstances. I just kept my head down and carried on working extremely hard. But that was a fantastic moment, which I'll never and ever forget. To score a goal at the Theatres of Dreams at Old Trafford against a very, very good Manchester United side was the icing on the cake. Even though we lost the game 3-2, which was disappointing for our fans and for myself and for my teammates. But in the end, that goal was just the icing on the cake for me on that day.
It certainly was the announcement of George Elokobi. I can't imagine it, George. It's just an amazing moment, incredible. I'm sure over the years you've had in the game that you've come across some wonderful characters. Who would you say is the best manager you've ever played for, and why?
I've played with under some incredible managers over my time in football, which I'm not going to go into the names because I haven't got the time. But they're all fantastic managers. All credit to them for helping me develop as a footballer. But the one that comes to mind and the one that I have to keep in touch with up to this very day, he's a big mentor of mine. Obviously, he calls me his body double, Mr. Mick McCarthy. Incredible man manager, incredible person, has time, a father figure to everyone that walked through the door at Wolverhampton at the time, but at the same time, had time to work on my weaknesses, to work on my strengths. And he just told me I just had to be the player that I am. Not to change anything. He didn't try to change me as a player. He just encouraged my strengths, and we worked on my weaknesses. And eventually, that was showing on the football pitch. But the work that we put in behind the scenes was tremendous. And he's a great guy. He's a great man, and I can't thank him enough for bringing me to such a wonderful club like Wolverhampton, and supporting me throughout his time there and throughout my time, and all the way till this very day. We still speak. So Mick McCarthy for me, number one.
Mick McCarthy. And your body double, that's hilarious, George. I've seen what's going on under that shirt of yours, mate. It's fair to say you're a machine. And for those that don't know you, people, look George up on the socials. He's unbelievable. But and I bet Mick's going to take that comment of yours every day of the week. But how about the player front? What about the best player you've ever played with, and maybe who against as well?
Best player I've played with is by far Teddy Sheringham, a legend in the game, won a lot of trophies in his time in the game. When he came to Colchester, I was there as a youngster, obviously playing in the championship with him. Was a tremendous, achievement. But at the same time, at the age, Teddy was just an example to us all in terms of how he conducted himself around the place, and what a great teammate he was as well. I learned a lot from him. He gave me a lot of advice as a young player. You could see on the football pitch why he played for such great clubs throughout his career and made history. So Teddy Sheringham for me. Best player I've come up against will be, obviously, I've said this time and again, Nani for Manchester United at the time when I played against him, especially my first season in the Premier League. We had some great battles, and yeah, so it was good to compete against such a fantastic player in Nani, and it was obviously a chance for me to test myself against the best players in the world, and yeah, so yeah, Nani.
Teddy Sheringham, fantastic. That's actually a blast from the past for me too. I remember meeting Teddy when he was at Manchester United, a really lovely guy. And Nani, what a player, brilliant, George. I think, like you say, what a test for you as a player. Now, fast forwarding to where we are today, you're a firm fan favourite. There's no question as the captain of National League side Maidstone United. Why do you think the fans have taken to you so amazingly well in the way they have?
Being the captain of the National League South side, Maidstone United, is a tremendous achievement. I'm truly humble for having the armband. From the day I walked through the doors, the fans have made me feel welcome, and I believe they've taken into me because I'm someone that leaves everything on the football pitch. I wear my heart to my sleeve, and I go out there and try to lead by example, try to do my job on the day, try to compete as fairly as I can. But I'm as honest as you can find them nowadays. So I think the fans see that through and through, and I think they take you to their hearts, and that's just what I've done. I've not changed anything that I haven't done before at any other football club. It's just making sure I'm as competitive as I can be on that football pitch, lead by example, obviously supporting the younger players coming through, but also having time for the fans, and also having time for the community is important as much as you playing on a football pitch. I think respect goes both ways, and I'm sure they can see that I'm someone that respects people, and that's why they've taken me into their hearts.
This is it, George. People notice when you lead by example, being as competitive as you can be, having time for people and the community, as you mentioned. For me, as I'm getting to know you on a personal level, I realise just how much importance you place on having such a positive and growth mindset in all that you do. And it's something, like I say, I promised I wanted to come back to you on. So why, in terms of mindset, why do you think this is so important, and maybe even more so today in these sort of challenging times we're all currently faced with at the moment?
It's very important to have a positive mindset in whatever you do in life, because having that positive mindset will take you to places beyond your wildest dream, beyond your personal imaginations. And I just try to stay as positive as I can be every day of my life. First, I'm very healthy, so I've got to be thankful for that. But at the same time, being positive and have being in control of what you can control, and not stressing on what you can't, is one of the most important things of being positive. And you know so yeah, so that would take you a very long way. At the same time, being positive in these very difficult times now with the pandemic and the lockdown. Obviously, we are all following government guidelines and making sure we stay safe, we stay at home in order to help the NHS. It's very important to stay positive, because this is all temporary. It's not permanent. It's gonna change over time. So we need to stay, I always try to stay positive, and I try to ensure that people stay positive, because it's very important for the mindset and also for your own well-being. So positivity breeds a healthy mind.
Stay as positive as you can be and keep in control of what you can control. I completely agree with you on that, George. Like you say, this is temporary, so it's having that focus on what's going on in your mind, and positivity certainly breathes a healthy mind. Absolutely, I love that. Now, coming to the final question to wrap today's Street Soccer United podcast, and George, I have to say, you've been as brilliant as I knew you would be. Thank you for your time today. We always finish on this. What's the best advice you've ever been given, and by who?
The best advice I've been given throughout my time when I was young up to this very day is to always stay positive, to always look on the bright side, learn from my mistakes, and obviously ensure that I carry on working hard, have a purpose in life, but also staying humble is one of the most important things in life. And at the same time, being patient is part and parcel of being successful in life, which obviously by being patient, sometimes you feel like you may not be getting the breakthrough, but if you stay patient, things will change for you, and you keep working hard. Always keep your eye on your goals and keep making sure you strive as hard as you can to achieve those goals. And patience is one of those things. And also, accepting rejection is part and parcel of of life. Not everyone is going to accept or agree with you as a person, or like you as a person, or like what you bring to the table, because life is full of opinions. Just not get too hard done by, and just be happy with what you've got, and be positive. That's it.
George, I could talk to you for the whole day. I've loved speaking with you, full stop, as always. What a fantastic answer to that last question. Always stay positive, look on the bright side, learn from your mistakes, work hard, have a purpose, stay humble, be patient. It's ongoing, George. But I think, keeping your eyes on your goals, you will achieve. It's brilliant advice. There we are. You've listened here to the man mountain himself, an incredibly inspiring George Elokobi, former Premier League footballer with Wolverhampton Wanderers and now captain of Maidstone United. Be sure to tune in again soon for our next podcast interview.